Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new Q&A video by me. This is a video which I'm going to be rounding off this awful, shitty year with. But I'm not going to ramble too much about how awful 2020 is. Instead, I'm going to be answering questions. Now for this video, I don't have that many questions to answer, but I'm not ruling out doing some more of these in the future. So I guess stay tuned in the future for some more of these Q&As that are yet to come. Now without further ado, let's answer your questions. Mr. Mercury Fan 16, great YouTube title by the way, asks, when did you become a fan of Doctor Who? Now I've done a few videos on this. If you want to know more about it, then I highly recommend that you check out my video on how I met the Doctor. It's a really good video, I really recommend you check it out. But to answer your question, in short, I became a Doctor Who fan in 2005 and the first episode that I ever watched was Rose. Robin Stevens has asked quite a few questions in a comment, so I'll try and quickly answer these as quick as possible. So first of all he's asked, do you know when K9 became part of the series and for how long? Because I do not like him. Yeah, amen brother, I'm kind of the same as you. Greetings from the Netherlands. Thank you, Robin. First of all, K9, he got introduced into Doctor Who in season 15 in a story called The Invisible Enemy. He was in Doctor Who as a regular for 3 years until the story Warrior's Gate, which came out towards the end of season 18. Then of course K9 went on to appear in his own spin-off series, K9 and Company, which we won't talk much about because it's awful, and he also turned up a couple of times in the new series as well as in the Sarah Jane Adventures. So there you have it. That is when K9 first appeared and how long he appeared in Doctor Who for. He was a real hindrance in my eyes, so I agree with you what you're saying about not liking him. He also asks, what or which episodes do you consider the worst of the series? Very good question. Well, I'm going to pick a few out. There might be a few that I miss, but the first ones that spring to my mind are stories like The Twin Dilemma, an awful debut for Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor. But in my eyes, I think stories like Timon and Rani are much worse, and that is the debut story for Sylvester McCoy as the Seventh Doctor. There's other bad stories like The Horns of Nimon, Underworld, The Leisure Hive. All of those came from the Tom Baker era. We had, let me think, we had The Time Monster, which I wasn't really a fan of. Doesn't come as a huge surprise. All of these stories, I'm pretty certain that most of, if not all of the stories that I've said are pretty bad. There's also The Underwater Menace, just an awful story and an awful DVD release, which I did a review of earlier this year. And if we go into the new series, I'd say that from the Tennant run, Fear Her I wasn't really that keen on. And then if we go into the Matt Smith run, there's quite a few Matt Smith episodes I don't like, but I think the one that sticks out like a sore thumb is The Doctor, The Widow and The Wardrobe. Arguably one of, if not the worst story from the revived era of Doctor Who. In the Capaldi era there's a few as well. And Mr. TARDIS reviews in his previous review that he's done recently on Dark Water and Death in Heaven just reminded me that actually that was a pretty crap story. And there's other stories like Kill the Moon in the Forest of the Night. There's others I can't think of the top of my head right now. The Eaters of the Light, I thought that was a crap story. And I guess if I'm going to go there, maybe The Timeless Children, because it left a sort of sour taste in my mouth. It's not the worst story I've ever seen, but I think it's a pretty bad story in terms of what it does to the canon of the Doctor as it stands. Oh yeah, and Orphan 59, or what was it? Not 59. Orphan 55, yes. That was a crap story. Robin also asks, do you also agree that B. Cumberbatch, so I'm guessing that's Benedict Cumberbatch, would be a great Doctor? I mean, he probably would be. I myself think that because of Sherlock, he may not be as associated with the Doctor, but more associated with Sherlock Holmes, because it's absolutely fantastic as Sherlock Holmes in the 2010 Sherlock series. But I'd say if he'd definitely be a good Doctor, although I think that it would be excellent as a villain as well, like the Master, or just a brand new villain. Does your girlfriend look like a character from Doctor Who? Well, at the moment I don't have a girlfriend, so I'm afraid I can't answer that one for you. If you have a son, would you name him after a Doctor? And who? Again, this is one that I can't really answer, and it's not really something I've thought about. I suppose I like the name David, so he could be named after David Tennant, I guess. But anyway, that's all the questions from Robin, so thank you very much, Robin Stevens, and stay tuned for more videos coming very soon from the channel. Bucky749 asks, what was the first Doctor Who story you saw and what part was it? I sort of answered this earlier on. The first ever story I saw was Rose, and I watched it right from the beginning. So the first thing that I ever saw was the title sequence, the Christopher Eccleston title sequence. Louis Wright, or Lewis Wright, asks, would you want a Fury from the Deep sequel in the new series? You know what? I wouldn't mind one, actually, and I think it would really work with the 13th Doctor, because we've had stories in the most recent series like Praxius, where there's like a sort of plague infecting people, and I think it'd be really good if they brought back the idea of a killer seaweed. I think that would be really good, but given what's gone on in recent times, it may not be appropriate, but I'd definitely be open to something like that at some point, because Fury from the Deep, in my eyes, is a great story, and I appreciated it a whole lot more after watching the brand new animation that came out earlier this year on DVD. So there you have it, guys. That is all the questions that I have to answer for this Q&A, and I hope that you enjoyed this question and answers session. Thank you very much to all of those who asked me these questions, very much appreciated. All that's left for me to say now is 2020 is done and dusted. I'm signing off. What's to be expected in 2021, you ask? Well, I've got quite a few projects in the pipeline. Thank you very much, folks, for watching this Q&A session. Join me for more of these Q&A sessions, as I plan to do these in the future, so keep an eye out for some more of these. And until then, have a very happy New Year, stay safe, and I shall see you in 2021.